What is metacognitive therapy? Metacognitive therapy, MCT, is a psychotherapy, so a talk therapy, developed by the British professor Adrian Wells. MCT has 25 years of research behind it, and it has shown impressive results in treating people recovering from mental health issues like anxiety and depression, for example. In fact, people sometimes recover from anxiety or depression in only a few sessions. So unlike traditional cognitive therapies, where a lot of focus is on beliefs and thoughts and the content of thoughts, metacognitive therapy focuses on dealing with the thinking process itself. So how much time do we spend thinking about our problems? How much time do we spend thinking about our negative thoughts and feelings? And all this overthinking, how does that help us? You might have experienced it yourself. Overthinking, dwelling on your negative thoughts, on your problems for a long period of time makes things worse, and it makes it harder for you to gain perspective, to overcome these problems and feel better. So metacognitive therapy is developed to help you get out of that loop, to overcome overthinking and let go of the thoughts and feelings so you no longer feel stuck. When we step out of the overthinking loop, what happens is that we allow the mind to take care of these thoughts and feelings on its own. This is a process called self-regulation. Self-regulation basically, and simply put, means that the thoughts become less important with time. That the thoughts and the feelings that we were struggling with, that we were overthinking, once we stop doing that, the thoughts and the feelings kind of go into the background and take care of themselves. And we become less and less reminded of these inner experiences. Have you ever had a wound, and have you sometimes caught yourself picking at that wound? Did you notice that it kind of took it longer for it to heal? Now imagine a similar thing happening in the mind. When we're upset about something, when we're feeling sad or down or anxious, and we keep picking at that mental wound, it becomes naturally harder for that wound to heal. So just like the flesh wound that has a harder time healing itself, the same thing happens in the mind when we keep dwelling on thoughts. So this dwelling on thoughts and dealing with thoughts has a name. It's called the cognitive attentional syndrome, also CAS for short. The CAS is when we worry about our thoughts, when we catastrophize thoughts. The CAS is also when we dwell and analyze our thoughts, also called rumination. But the CAS also consists of trying to get rid of thoughts or get rid of negative emotions. For example, through thought suppression or avoidance or excessive reassurance seeking. So the CAS is basically picking at that mental wound, so it's harder for it to heal. The more we dwell on thoughts, the more we try to control and deal with thoughts, the longer it will take for the mind to overcome negative inner experiences like negative thoughts and negative feelings. So MCT is built on an important idea of how the mind can heal itself. Just like the wound that can heal itself, the mind can deal with negative experiences, both inner experiences, but also problems in our lives or uncomfortable and upsetting experiences that has happened to us. The mind is quite resilient and very good at dealing with these things on its own. So long we activate the CAS and we're CASing, or we're worrying and ruminating and trying to control our thoughts, that's when it's harder for the mind to heal these emotional wounds. If you're someone who overthinks a lot, you might have noticed that not everyone around you does that. So why is it that some of us overthink quite a lot and others really don't, despite going through negative experiences as well? So MCT explained this by pointing to an important set of beliefs that we have that make us start overthinking. These beliefs are called metacognitive beliefs because they are beliefs about how thinking works. Metacognitive beliefs are beliefs about thinking. So, for example, I cannot stop worrying. That's a metacognitive belief. Or worrying is helpful. It helps me be prepared. Or rumination helps me solve problems and overcome my depression. These are metacognitive beliefs, And these beliefs are different from the kind of beliefs we hear about in other therapy approaches. For example, I am not worthy, or I am not lovable, or the world is a dangerous place are not metacognitive beliefs because they are not about thinking. So metacognitive beliefs guide us to deal with our thoughts. If someone has the belief that worrying is helpful, they will start worrying every time they experience problems in their lives or they experience negative thoughts about the future, for example. If someone has the belief that rumination is helpful and a good way to understand their depression, they will continue to ruminate despite feeling worse and worse. The belief that I cannot stop worrying and ruminating is the most common belief people with mental illnesses have. They no longer believe that they can stop overthinking, so they continue worrying and ruminating because they feel that they have lost control over this thinking. So the goal of MCT is, of course, to help people dwell less on their thoughts and feelings. It's to overthink less to help them overcome mental health problems like, for example, anxiety. But if you also think that, well, we need to change these metacognitive beliefs as well, you guessed right. If someone decides no longer to worry about their thoughts, but they still have this belief and they believe quite strongly that I need to worry to be prepared, well, the next time a negative thought pops up or a problem happens in their lives, they will start worrying again due to this belief. So it's important that metacognitive beliefs are changed in therapy so that people can experience recovery also in the long term. So what happens when someone comes to metacognitive therapy? As a psychologist specialized in MCT, my biggest goal is to help people develop a different relationship with their thoughts and exit therapy with a completely different view of their minds. Most of the time when clients come in, they have this idea of themselves as someone who is less resilient, that the experiences that they've had in their lives or the negative thoughts and feelings they continuously experience has somehow broken them or made them less resistant and made them less resilient. They also don't believe that they can control their minds, so that their thinking just happens to them and this is nothing that they can't stop, and that thoughts are important and dangerous sometimes, and that these thoughts and feelings need to be attended to whenever they come up. When my clients come into therapy with this idea of their minds, my biggest goal is to help them change that, because these ideas are not true. So through different strategies and experiments in our sessions and outside of our sessions, I help my clients experience thoughts in a different way. I help them see their thoughts as just thoughts rather than facts or a part of reality. I also help them experience that they cannot collapse from having very strong emotions or having a lot of negative thoughts in their minds. So the goal is not to equip my clients with tools, although some people come into therapy expecting that. My goal is to help them change their relationship with their minds and have a completely different and healthier relationship with their minds. And when I succeed with this, my clients leave therapy believing that they are much more resilient, that even though negative thoughts come up, negative emotions come up, they go through difficult experiences in their lives, they feel stressed for some time, that these inner experiences are not something that will break them, that they are transient, that they come and go, and most importantly, that my clients have much more control over their minds than they thought, and that they can stop overthinking whenever they want.